Okay, welcome everybody to our newest ArtScope. So let me just get a few housekeeping tasks out of the way. First, I'm Michelle Cacavano, and presently I'm the chair of ArtScope. ArtScope began over 10 years ago, and it began with a very special man named Al Chasen, who unfortunately we lost. He managed this whole event for all those years, putting on shows all the time. So when Al got into his 90s, he got a little tired. I don't know why, but he did. And he asked if I would like to take it over for him. And of course, I jumped at it and said yes. And I think, Sylvia, you nudged him, right?
Why not? You're a person, you're smart, you take fabulous photographs. Why not? It's right.
My fan club. And Al was the first person to ask me to show my photographs. No one had ever done that before. I mean, I had been taking photographs for close to 50 years, but nobody had ever recognized it before. Al was the first person I met here. He came and tapped me on the shoulder when I was unpacking furniture in my house on the first day I moved here. And we got to know each other, and we saw each other every morning when we went for coffee. So it was a wonderful relationship. And his wife Sylvia is here, also a wonderful woman. So Al, wherever you are, we celebrate you again today. And he always used to ask me, how many people came? Take a picture of how many people are in the audience. He wanted to know it was a success. So now I have to ask you one question. If the fire alarm goes off, what do? Right. Stay where you are until we hear otherwise, okay? So please remember that. Hopefully it won't go off while we're here. Now let me just see if I've covered everything. Yes. This doesn't get done without a lot of work, as you can see. So it does take, I usually start about 3 months before, just trying to plan for it. And actually, I met Laura at Roost, where we were both in the same show called Inspiration just a short time ago. And Marcy, are you still here?
I'm here.
Yes, Marcy Bernstein is the Roost studio over there. And Marcy had a show here a number of years ago also. And quite a few of the artists at Roost have shown here. So I guess Marcy and I talked about this maybe about 6 months ago when I said I would like to feature Roost artists here.
Yes.
Every quarter. So that's what we're trying to do because they have so many wonderful artists there. So Laura is also a Roost artist. And I actually saw one of her, I can't call it totally one of her creations at one of the shows, and I fell in love with it, and I already have a little red dot on it because I'm going to buy it. And so I immediately talked to Marcy, who called her up and said there's somebody who's interested in your art here who would like to have you have a show of William Dawn. So that's how it all begins, and it takes months to put it all together. We're going to be taping this one so that if anybody that didn't come tonight wants to see it, they'll be able to do that. I'd like to thank one other person, I don't know if she's here, Kitty. Kitty made the flyer for us that you've seen hanging for a short time. So I'd like to thank her. And then of course there's the people that put the whole room together for us. Let's see, did I remember everybody? What? Oh yes, well actually the hangers was her husband. Yeah, her and her husband came here on Saturday and booked the whole show. So when I hire, well, I don't know if I can call you hired because, but when I have artists come here, I especially like the ones with tall husbands. Because I know they can help us hang. Because I don't like to have the guys here standing on 6-foot ladders if I can avoid it. So that's what we have to do sometimes. All right, so with no more things to talk about right now, I'd like to introduce Laura Phillips, and I'm not gonna read something and tell you about her, I'm gonna let her tell you about herself. And I'll let her take over, and you can see how beautiful visually this is. So, there you go, Laura. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. And thank you everybody for coming tonight. It's so nice to see a full house. I appreciate you. Before I tell you about myself or the show,
You have to talk right into it.
I would like to thank my husband Chris for helping me to hang the show. And I'd like to thank my son and my mom and my Uncle George for being here to support me tonight. And I'd like to thank all of the speakers here who came out to see everything tonight. I appreciate you all very, very much. A little bit about me. I'm from Long Island. I started my artistic career as a designer. I'm an FIT graduate. I started doing graphic design and package design for a few years, and I didn't love it. And I had an Aunt Santa who convinced me that I would just love being an art teacher. And I took her advice and I went back to school and I got my teaching certificate. And for 30 years, I taught public school on Long Island. I was an art teacher and I loved it. And after that, I retired and I moved to my favorite place in the whole world, the Hudson Valley. My husband and I had been coming up for weekends at Mohawk since 1998, and it was always the best weekend of the year. So I decided, why not have a life in the place that makes me so happy? So we moved up here about 4 years ago. And being a retired art teacher, I now had lots of time to make art. So that's what I've been doing for the last 4 years. I love all the nature up here. It inspires me so much. And if I'm not inside the studio, I'm outside hiking or gardening or talking to the hawk or the hummingbird or whoever's visiting me that day. So I was invited by Michelle to come here and have an art show, and I was really excited because I had this idea in my head that I really wanted to have an art show called Lovely Things with Wings, because I had so many pieces of artwork with winged beings. And the reason I had all these pieces with winged beings was because my Aunt Santa, who passed away, collected Birds and Blooms magazines. And my uncle was kind enough to bring her collection up to me to enjoy. And a lot of the photo images from Birds and Blooms magazines are part of my artwork. And I would like to dedicate the show to my Aunt Santa, who is about that tall. And she was just lovely. Everything she touched became beautiful. And from the time I was a little girl, I just thought she was the most magical fairy-like person I had ever met. And she just really taught me to appreciate the details and the beauty in everything. So I feel like she's here with us tonight, and I feel like there's a little piece of her in every piece of this artwork. And I am very grateful that I'm having the opportunity tonight to share her story with you and to share all these works that mostly were inspired by her a little bit. And Uncle George, thank you so much for being here tonight. It means the world to me. And I'd love to have questions from anybody who wants to ask me anything. Yes, Betsy.
Hold on a second.
Oh.
It is too much.
These look like they're three-dimensional. I think, I'd like you to tell us about what's, like, it looks like wood, or are these collages, or you tell us about how you do this?
So all my pieces here are mixed media. Some of them start out as paintings. Some of them have different materials added on. For example, some of the pieces over here have actual tree bark attached to the work. I have natural materials like lichen, twigs. I actually have some remnants of a hornet's nest in the piece that Michelle purchased. So I do like to forage natural elements and add them to some of my pieces. But I don't do all of my pieces the same way. I like to play. I like to explore. I might wake up one day and find something in the woods and just think, oh, what can I do with this? What does this remind me of? And I'll go up to my studio and I'll go through all my stuff, and whatever jumps out at me, that's what I'll use. Thank you, Marty.
Following up on that, on this end, the flowers look like they have a three-dimensional petal around each petal. Is that true?
So these pieces over here actually started as photos that I took that I had printed on canvas, and then I added details, ink, some paint, some smaller photo images from those Birds and Blooms magazines, and they're just embellished and detailed by me. Thank you. More friends. Welcome, thank you. Any other questions?
Hey Laura, this stuff looks amazing, first
Thank
of
you.
all, what an incredible wall. Would you talk a little bit about the relationship of the poems that are on the wall to the visual work, how they're connected to each other?
Sure. Besides doing artwork, I love to write poetry. And sometimes I'll write a poem and it will inspire me to create the artwork. And sometimes I create artwork that inspires me to write a poem. It can go either way.
It seems like some of the ones with dots are like very like Aboriginal art. Has that inspired you?
I actually really love Native cultures, so Aboriginal art is something that I do like very much. I like symbolism, I like pattern, so I do incorporate that in some of my pieces.
I'm sure your children, when you were teaching, benefited greatly from you. My question is, Is there any way you can tell us what the children taught you about being an artist?
Yes, I think the children taught me that you have the most fun being an artist when you don't think about what other people think and just create joyfully what makes you happy.
I didn't realize what motivated that question, other than curiosity, but now I see the playfulness in your work too. It's so light and carefree and joyful.
Well, I really appreciate that because doing artwork is something I do for myself. It nourishes my soul, it gives me pleasure, and it's the one area in my life where I don't put limits or conditions or allow judgment. I just do it the way I feel like doing it.
Oh, I have to say something too, Laura. Can I ask you a little bit more about your family life and where you said you were from Long Island?
Yes.
I'd like to know if there was anyone in your family older or like who was interested in art and get inspired by their work, and what high school you went to, and then also what school on Long Island did you teach art? Because my sister, a little bit older than you are, Laura, inspired me to paint as well. She taught school and developed a painting course, and she inspired me. So what about your earlier life and where did you teach? I find your work very attractive and very unusual and very interesting. So thank you, Laura, for being like my sister, though a much younger sister. Maybe I could have inspired too, but I got it. This is really unique.
Thank you. I grew up in a small town called Seaford on the south shore of Long Island, and I taught elementary art in Farmingdale, which is on the Nassau-Suffolk border on Long Island. And really growing up, my Aunt Santa was my inspiration. She was an art teacher for 30 years, and I actually inherited her classroom at her school when she retired, and then I taught for 30 years.
Wow.
Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
Question?
I don't need a mic. I really don't need a mic. I'm gonna use it. I need a mic. Well, I don't have a question, so I didn't need a mic. But I was gonna tell you, because I don't think I ever have, I love so many things about your artwork and your spirit and how it all comes through, but my favorite thing about your work is I always want to become part of the picture. I want to get inside the picture, and so I figured I'd just let you know this.
I love that, Kate. Thank you for that.
Somebody needs the mic.
Marcy.
Second time, but I just have to say this. What's your name? Kappa. When Kappa commented on the dots that seemed rather aboriginal, I started to look through all of these and look at the way the dots are functioning and the spirals in a lot of the pieces. And to me, these are such an interesting combination of the natural world, just very, what you find, and then there's this magical string, like these dots and the spirals, it's like there's this magical energy that's woven through it. So part of it is very down to earth, and then there's this part that is totally sparkly magic. And all of the dots and the spirals weaving through really bring that.
I just love that you said that. And I want to say that I work very intuitively, and I feel when I work that I'm receiving divine messages. So I think that's the magic. And then my inspiration of just this beautiful world and all its creatures and lovely things is my earthly passion. So thank you for noticing.
Laura, I have another question.
Yes.
I had this question earlier in the program before anyone came in. I asked Laura, how did she put in the snowflakes in this multimedia work that she had? So she explained it to me very clearly, and it's a very nice effect. Maybe you might all like to hear about how this particular painting, as well as other paintings in this group here, showing, well, maybe not this one, the same technique that you used over here.
Well, we were talking earlier, he asked about the snow. So this piece started out as an acrylic painting on canvas, and I added some forage tree bark from our woods, because we have woods. And I finished it off with a spritz of snow, which I created by diluting acrylic paints and using a spray bottle.
And where was the painting when you did that spray?
On the floor, because you don't want it to drip.
I noticed that some of your paintings that have frames and some don't. But the ones that have frames have glass or clear plastic on it?
The framed works have glass, and those are works done on paper. The canvas works don't have frames,
Why?
because I can't afford to frame them.
So buy paintings.
You painted those owls and that woodpecker?
No, those are actually photo images from the Birds and Blooms magazines that I got from my Aunt Santa. From my Aunt Santa that I inherited. You got it, cut and paste.
Laura, I think maybe you could read one of your poems and see how it's related to the painting. I think this winter solstice sky, would you read it to?
I would love it if you would read it.
Oh, no.
I really love hearing other people read my
All right,
poetry.
especially since it deals with science, the solstice sky. Winter Solstice Sky by Laura Phillips. Winter solstice sky, cloudy and dark, coaxing sleep. May peace renew us as we settle into our inner caves, resting, nesting, mindfully investigating in the future we can long to create. Moonlight shines blissfully bright, casting magic on a chilly night. Inspiring dreams and gratitude for twinkling stars that beckon hope and the glow of an earth that warms the soul, grounding us and reminding us of blessing past and present.
Good job, Artie.
Thank you.
Do you have one or two favorites
Or is that like asking what your favorite child is?
I have a few. This is one. This piece is called Journey to Spring, and this was created the year that I was retiring, and we had purchased the home up here, and I knew I would be moving, and my whole life was changing. I was leaving everything behind and coming to a new place where I didn't know anybody. But I was really excited and happy about it. So this piece really reflected my journey that year, and it means a lot to me. And there's a poem there too, if anyone wants to read it. You want me to read it? Journey to Spring by Laura Phillips. I stumble through the darkness of final winter days. Daylight's getting longer as the sun prolongs his stays. The winter, she's given us the time to dream and plan. So now we say our last goodbyes. Farewell, melting snowman. The birds, I hear them singing as they proudly build their nests. They seem to be so busy. Will they ever get to rest? They know that spring is coming and new life will soon be here. Like showy yellow daffodils, we'll greet with glee and cheer. We long for all the flowers to enchant us with their blooms and share their sweet aromas that so sweetly fill a room. We gather up our seeds to sow and till the soil with care, with hopes of future bounty and enough for us to share. The springtime offers promise for a chance to start anew. The time to leave behind the things no longer serving you. So, as we journey forward toward the bliss that we call spring, may gratitude and passion fill our hearts with songs to sing.
I have a question. This very, very large painting here does not look like any of the other paintings, and I'm just curious as to where you got that painting.
That is a great question, and this is a much earlier work. This is a piece that was done 10 years ago. I used to paint more and not add as many different mediums and extra things to my work. I actually started working mostly just painting with acrylics. So this is an older piece and that's why it looks a lot different. But it did have a winged being in it, so it made the cut.
On that same painting, are those shiny things in the middle pasted on? Or are they painted?
Yes, there are pieces of patterned paper and little, what would I call them? They're like little gems, little, yeah.
They look metallic.
They're metal on the back and they're, I think, colored plastic on the front. I'm sure they have a name, but I'm not sure what the name is. That's my art teacher coming through, just using the crafty things.
Some of my favorite birds are in her paintings. The jay, And I love watching butterflies myself. And some of the birds are so small. There's one here, right here in the wood. And it's a downy woodpecker. Is that it, Larry? Little red.
It's too small to see for me. I didn't bring
You gotta come up and look at it, but I think it's a downy woodpecker. And here's a little yellow bird, little breasted bird, yellow, in a little nest. So cute.
It's quite different.
Yeah, this is quite different.
Well, because it's a photo on the bottom instead of the photo being cut out on the top.
Yes,
Yeah.
some of the pieces were original photographs that I took that I had printed on canvas, and that makes up the background.
May I ask another question? What kind of trees are these? These are the texture is beautiful. Anyone recognize the bark of this tree? I'm sorry to ask this question, but the texture is very nice.
I have so
And
many
then
oak trees on my property that I'm gonna go with oak, but I can't be sure.
And Michelle loves this painting because of the bark, as well as the owl, because the owls are her mother's favorite bird. And so she bought the painting. This,
A lot of owls. You know, for some reason in the winter, well, I just had the urge to have owls around me. Owls and moons were my winter passion this past winter.
well, I'll turn this over to Michelle unless there are any further questions. And Laura, thank you for that. From me to you.
Okay, so, wonderful show, wonderful stories. I did want to tell everybody that this is probably one of the first ArtScope that somebody sold pictures before they even came here. So that's quite a feat. Now, if you like any of these things and you do want to purchase them, if you notice behind Laura, there's a clear envelope with little red dots on it. So if there's something you like that you want to purchase, just put a red dot on it.
And the dot goes on the little card, not on the artwork.
Oh, yeah, I screwed up. Yeah. I put it on the glass, I'm sorry. You forgot to tell me that, Ro.
Do you want to say anything about the paintings in the back?
Just be sure to look at them.
There's these gorgeous paintings in the back.
That's her boy.
If you like the Aboriginal aspect of some of the pieces, I have one back here that's got a lot of dots and Aboriginal looking things in it. It's called The Knowing. And it's about intuition and giving into it. And there's a poem that goes with that, but I'll let you come and read it.
Explain Aboriginal, people who don't know.
So, Aboriginal people are native people from Australia.
Well, you're talking about the curves, and they have symbols for people, and they have symbols for sitting woman or standing woman.
They use symbols, as do most native cultures.
And maybe you can point some out. The curvies, the eyes.
So just spirals and the dots. So my symbols are just intuitive, and I'm not using the specific symbols of the culture. But some people mention that it looks Aboriginal. So it's not authentically Aboriginal, it's authentically Laura Phillips.
Laura, the painting next to the second from the right, left, the brown and blue, that looks different from any of the others, to me. Yes. No. Yes.
This one?
Yes.
Well, the shape is different. It's very long and horizontal. This was done on a watercolor paper, and I used diluted acrylics to start. I added some gelatos, and there's also some white ink, some forage plant material. It's got a lot of I like spirals and swirls, and really my pieces, none of them are very geometric or angular. I like nature and I like organic shapes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, in celebrating this art exhibit, there are drinks and cookies outside. And thank you very much, Laura, for coming here with your art.